Hello, everyone. We are live. We are back once again with another week of the CEA Corporate Esports Association. Last week, the gentleman you see, the handsome gentleman you see with the nice burgundy background was unavailable, but we were joined by the lovely Tenchi. However, he is back. How are you doing, Beowulf? How was your weekend off?
You know what? It was a good time, except I was literally spending that entire weekend working on a midterm. So, yeah, I didn't know you can have midterms that actually last a week long. I did not know this. It made me very, very sad. But I dealt with it. I survived. Now I'm back casting some StarCraft, and I just saw some incredible StarCraft with IEM.
Yeah, no, it was some really good matches. Sorry, that took me a second.
Sorry,
yeah.
I was talking, but also reading chat to make sure I knew who players go into each slot.
Yeah.
And yeah, but just making sure that we have players go.
Yeah, for anyone who hasn't seen it, warning, this is a spoiler alert, blah blah blah. Give it a couple seconds. Couple more seconds. Yes, it was a very good day of games. I would say the last series was probably the best one. Zest versus Clem. Very good series. I was saying it before. I know you were as well. Zest looked absolutely on fire and very much poised to potentially win the entire tournament. But Clem, he was looking so world class, looking so good, and unfortunately, he was just a little bit too not quite sharp enough, and ended up getting overwhelmed at the end of the day. Some really good games overall. Definitely, obviously, recommend checking it out. But for now, we're looking at a pretty cool matchup ahead of us. Who do we have today, Beowulf?
We got two teams here today. We have the Amazon Painforest matching on up against the Google Alphastars. So this is actually a rather premier matchup early on in this season. Amazon Painforest, of course, had a wonderful run last season. They went fairly deep. They did a great job. And Google Alphastars is Google's A team. In fact, when we look at things, all their players are Masters players, similar enough to Amazon as well. Yeah, Masters and Diamond level players, but Tuna and Shockwave, absolutely at the top of the tier for the CEA last season. So we're going to see a clash of the Titans here, Steadfast, in this week number 2 already. Matchups that realistically do have playoff implications.
Yes, that's a good way of putting it for sure. And I would agree with you. This is a marquee matchup, 100%. Really glad we got the opportunity to cast this. But heading into game number 1, we have a very interesting setup, something that the CEA has started to have more and more of. We've got a random player playing today, and that is going to make for a very exciting matchup. What do you think's thoughts on ZVR?
Well, you know what? I think it's really interesting in this map in particular. Of course, the map, the wonderful maps that we have here today are all either Pillars of Gold or Submarine, which makes things a little bit interesting. But on a map like Submarine, you not knowing what your opponent's race is going to be rather problematic, because is it a Zerg? Are they going to hit you with an early gas? Because you know what, we'll talk about that in a second, Steadfast. Our players are loaded in, and we already got something happening, so take it away.
Yes, we do. Spawning down in the bottom right position, the random player, it is Bench Press. And he spawned in his Zerg, and he's going for a 14-13. A little bit of a weirder build, but not a slight variation on the 13-12, but still very interesting.
And then his opponent in the upper left, in the purple, he is Shockwave, the Amazon Painforest.
And of course, in the bottom right, we have Bench Press representing the Google. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. What the hell is this?
This is a Link Flood build.
It is a Link Flood build, but this is an in-based. We have Galgatine. We're just as confused as everyone here. Okay, so the beauty of this, he's pulled his Overlord back. He has kept the fact that he is going Zerg from his opponent for an extraordinary amount of time. And by not showing the hatchery in the natural, it's going to keep it hidden even longer. But this is so weird out of bench press right now. I cannot express how bizarre this is.
Oh man, and he was only 2 out of 3 on gas as well. And actually, yeah, look how late this gas is for sure. I mean, it's not way late in the grand scheme of things, but it's still. Actually, you know what? Yeah, this is a gaseous opening from Shockwave, and that is greedy as hell when you don't know what your opponent is doing. So
we have a drone scout.
Does a drone scout matter? Okay, so there we have a gas on the way here. So Shockwave will eventually get on into Banelings. If he gets Zergling speed as his first bit attack here, that will be a massive problem. But oh, look at this. So we got Zerglings, they're going to come across the map, but we have a drone with the first set of Zerglings here. And yes, speed is done in about 50 odd seconds. But it looks like we're going to try to see an aggressive spine probably go up in the natural here of Shockwave as the Zerglings come streaming across the map. But there are a decent amount of Zerglings already out. So this is actually going to be a question here. Oh, go ahead, Steadfast.
Well, I was just going to say, I think it's actually very important that Drone Scout came down. That otherwise, this Spine Crawler would have never been built. Personally, I would have loved to see Shockwave stay gasless upon seeing this. This is as all-in gets. He doesn't even have a natural. He's built the hatchery in his main base. If you hold your natural as Shockwave, great Evo Chamber right there. The game is over.
But now speed is done, so this does give our barcoded player, this does give bench press the opportunity. It gives him the opportunity to maybe run by and do things, but no, he's not even going to try. He says, okay, there are 2 spines, there are 2 queens, there is a full wall, there are a bunch of Zerglings. I'm not going to be able to get anything done. But there we go. Never mind, not a second gas on the way. Went for a gas and canceled it to overpool because he was getting supply blocked. And this is 3 out of 3 on gas, but we don't see a Baneling Nest on the way. He has enough gas for that. Is this going to be 1 base lair, Steadfast?
I mean, it can't be anything, I think. You can't back her out of this. You can't. It's just not, it's not viable. It's not possible. But that's what it's going to be. And wow. This is so insanely bizarre. And this has to be for Nidus, right? You can't go 1 base Muta.
Maybe there's a Zergling drop strat, but all of the Zergling or all of the Overlords are on bench press's side of the map. They're not anywhere near where Shockwave is playing. As I say that, we have an Overlord moving across the map, but
look at how far. Oh God.
Steadfast, on the scale of snail to Ferrari, exactly how fast would you rate an Overlord?
Well, Overlords are a little bit quicker now, so I would say they're like the Snail Mark II. But that's still a snail. I like that tuna dropping. I think I can learn a lot from this ZVZ. Galcatine throwing some shade. Oh boy.
Oh man. Hope bench press never actually sees that, but he will get a scout in now. Shockwave will. He sees the Nidus too. Oh no. It's a disaster.
It is as disastrous as it comes, and yep, with that Shockwave, he's going to be checking his main bases. And, well, the only advantage of this Nidus Worm is that it could bypass the Spine Crawlers. But now, there's really no way that that can get up, right? Okay, he is going to try and run in here, but there's 3 spines. Oh, my God.
Yeah, unfortunately for bench press, Shockwave decided to grow a spine in this game. He stood up straight. He said, I am not falling for these shenanigans. And he was correct. You know, he showed that gumption that all great Zerg players need to show in this game. But there we go. Nidus is coming down, but Zerglings have already found it. Zerglings, they're going to go try to find here. But, you know, the wall, of course, made it difficult for the Zerglings to get there, but they will still not get up. I don't care how much armor a building Nidus has. When you have this full-on surround here, it's going to get nothing doing.
Yeah, and it's 40 drones to 16. Now, the only thing I will say is that Shockwave has not built any roaches yet, but he's actually floating like a crap ton of money right now. But it just kind of, like, as long as the Nidus continues to not get up in the main base, this game is over. Like, we're actually going to see, off an undersaturated main base, this main base start to mine out pretty soon.
Okay, we do have the Zerglings. Okay, there's a queen with this, but it's only 1 queen. I don't really see how much that adds to you, to be totally honest. And Shockwave, yeah, he's down 8 army supply, so he's down 16 lings, but I don't know how much of a difference that makes when you see more and more going in. And okay, bench press, he's going for a bunch of Banelings, and that's something. Actually, this, no, there's a full surround here, never mind. Zerglings are going to run on in, though, and, you know, some of the Zerglings are on the map here for Shockwave, so maybe there's an opportunity here. I mean, it's a slim one, but Zerglings are going to find their way on into the main base. Just really know the AI of these spines is going to have everything to say about this. I think maybe one Queen died, but that's going to be just about it here. Roaches, or did I see? Yeah, Roaches are now coming on out. +1's on the way. Everything's going to go down. GG. The random player, unfortunately, he falls.
That was
was a thing.
That was, yep, that existed. That was about the most random play that you can get, and well, it is very clear that he's got a stronger. I think his other matchups are stronger than this. I'll just say that. I think that ZVZ has got to be, of the 9 matchups, based on his rating alone, it's got to be the probably the worst luck for him to have gotten that one, just based on what we saw. Now, good. I mean, you got to give kudos where kudos is due. Shockwave, he got that drone scout. He got that Ling scout on the Nidus. And to be honest, the Nidus actually could have worked if that Ling scout hadn't come in, because there actually was no vision in the top right of the main base, and the Ling count was always better for the random Zerg. So if that Ling scout had not come in, we could actually be talking about how unbelievably this ended up going in favor of the one base double hatch Nidus worm player.
Yeah, you're not wrong. That's one of those things, but it's funny when you talk about players complaining about random. This is what they're complaining about for the most part. These builds that should never work if the player's not random. They should never work if you actually know what your opponent's race is and you can respond to it appropriately. But when you're forced into these weird middle of the road, I need to counter every early game thing that my opponent could possibly be going for, because random players cheese for the most part. I mean, maybe less so as you get up to higher ranks, but that is what they are known for. And you know what? Well, all that means, Steadfast, is we have survived it. We have survived the insanity. And now we're getting ready to go on into game number 2.
That we are. And well, look at that. It's on Submarine again. Spawning up in the top left position of the map. Representing the Amazon Painforest. They're up 1-0. It is Tuna, the new captain in the blue.
And his opponent in the bottom right, in the red for the Google Alphastars. He is the Red Terran player, Keel.
Big fan of that name, by the way. Obviously, a reference to Key and Peele, the hilarious comedy duo, who I'm just huge fans of. It's a gas first out of P and Keel, and well, there's a few options with this that you can get early Hellions. You can get that's the biggest one actually. A very, very quick reactor straight after Reaper, assuming you do go Reaper. That allows you to maybe go into a Hellion a Hellbat play, possibly an early Hellion drop. There's just a lot of options.
Yes, I've actually seen a lot of I don't know a lot, but I cast a game with Ryung and Rex last night, and Ryung was going for this 3 Hellbat cloaked Banshee all in that hit just at 355.
Oh wow!
On Lightshade, and it's gas first into single marine reactor opener. Okay, it's not what we're gonna see here because we have a Reaper on the way, but I mean there are options here. I've seen a decent amount of these kind of weird Hellbat Banshee all-ins that I don't really know what we're going to see here, but we will see probably some more tech. As there we go, Natural is on the way, but Factory as well, and Steadfast already this game is undetermined longer than the previous one was.
Yes, it is a it's a more interesting game, I think, already. Well, actually, that's debatable. That was a very, very interesting build. But it's a much more normal game already. Now, Tuna got a very, very quick third hatchery. That's actually absurdly fast in ZVT. Was that a 24 supply third hatch or a 22 supply? He got that Did he get that before the queens? Yeah, he did.
Maybe he thinks this is the ZVP and he's gonna play like the Koreans do. Like, of course, you know, there's the Korean ZVP opener, which is a 19 supply at third base. But I don't know. I didn't really see the I didn't see the hatch timing. Man, that hatch is almost done. You're right. Man, that is ludicrously fast.
It's very, very fast. Like, it's like if you're concerned about a Reaper SCV block combo causing problems for you, you get a 28 supply third hatch. That was already like 30 seconds done, or nah, maybe not 30, like 20 seconds done by the time 28 supply rolled around, and that was with a delayed overlord. That was with this was just a very, very interesting build. Ooh, are we gonna see? Is this gonna be Banshees or is this gonna be BCs?
Well, we don't see a starport, or we don't see a fusion core on the way as of yet. But now, while we don't see anything whatsoever, is someone is lagging.
Oh.
It is the bench press from game number 1. Also, steadfast while we're sitting here on this break, it should be noted that P and Keel's name is apparently Cheese.
Oh. Interesting.
F for our resident gold leaguer. So when I'm looking at the back end, the new play CEA.gg back end that we got, which is awesome.
Yes.
I'm seeing they give the player names in the list, but yeah, P and Keel, I guess is a professional name is Cheese. So we have not seen any Cheese yet, Steadfast. I'm disappointed here. I feel like I have been sold false advertising.
Yep.
In this game.
I've been bamboozled. I've been lied to. I've been deceived. And damn it, no, I did that in the wrong order. I've been deceived, lied to, and quite possibly bamboozled.
I don't know.
There we go. We do get back in the game. Sorry, he's new to this game coming down. Okay, there it is. There is the fusion core. All right. I don't know why this barracks is flying to the bottom right, but
it's because it's next steadfast. Actually, I believe that is something. Yeah. Yeah. No. This is going to be Mac. If you took a look at because this season actually we have something new and exciting. We have the teams have filled out their team sheets, so we get wonderful things like pronouns of players, how you pronounce their names, but also team notes. And actually, Google did a really good job of filling this out. So, of course, P and Keel, or Cheese as he is known by, is new to the the Google A team. He played for the B team last year, but he did qualify for that. So this is really his first big showing. I guess he played in week number 1, but this is his first casted event as part of the A team. So we're gonna have to see how he handles that pressure. But he also is supposedly mostly a mech player.
Oh, so big lineup on those drones right there. That was a very effective 4 Hellions right there. They picked off a good number of Zerglings. 8 Zerglings. They actually... It's a little bit unfortunate for P and Keel that he didn't get a little bit more aggressive right after he killed those Zerglings, because that was actually it for what was on the map for Tuna for a little bit. And he did still end up finding a good couple of drones on that third base. But yeah, that was very effective. And well, how do you think Tuna's going to respond against this mech play?
Well, I mean, Submarine is disarmingly a surprisingly good map for mech. Where people are like, oh, it's a small map. Mech doesn't do all that great in small maps, but you can get bases pretty easily, and the chokes are insane on this map. So it is so hard to attack on into the mech player. We might see maybe a swarm host approach. That's something you see that maybe can make use of that. That can deal with that a little bit more, because you just fly over the chokes and then you land on top of the units. But also, this map is so small, it is difficult for Zerg to get to the massive base advantage that you really want to when you're dealing with a mech player, so you can get that massive economic advantage you're looking for. But that may not even matter here, as we have the Hellions. They're going to stream on into the natural. Once again, 6 more workers do go down, and of course the battlecruiser is in the main base. And you've got to remember, Steadfast, there are 7 queens on the map, but for a long period of time it was only 6. That queen, please target that queen down. But I know he will be forced to get out here because he teleported the battlecruiser into the third base. And when you teleport in, that means you cannot teleport out for a good period of time as we wait. Of course, teleport, it's only halfway off a cooldown, and of course the battlecruiser mostly damaged, so will be forced to back up here. But 14 workers go down, and this is by far the most important thing that you can do when you are playing mech.
Yes, keeping that Zerg off of a... So the thing that makes mech less popular these days at the pro level, at the highest level meta, is that there is some very dangerous timings as mech tries to secure its production, get up to a big high army supply, get up to a third and eventually fourth base. There's a lot of very vulnerable points. Now, the reasoning for that is because Zerg can be very, very explosive in the early game. They can get up to, 66 drones very quickly, or 72 drones, or 80 drones very quickly. Mass Lingbane Ravager moves. Why did he just teleport? Oh my god, why? that was so pointless. But yes, during those times, that's what makes mech vulnerable. So if you keep knocking your opponent's economy down in the early stages for those very, very cheap, cost-efficient Hellions, you can oftentimes kind of forcibly bridge that gap because the Zerg never gets the opportunity to get explosive until later on in the game. And we see the worker count is about even right now. It's actually favoring the Terran player by 1, and that's despite Tuna heavily droning up behind this. And now there's another big Hellion run by getting geared up for on the potential 4th base.
And of course, we have a bunch of battle cruisers moving out on the right side as well. One has teleport, one does not, but it is 2 battle cruisers now. And that means that is going to be a little powerful pincer movement because we have not a lot of... It's only 7 queens still. 7 queens fight 1 battle cruiser just fine. That's the number you're looking for. But when it's 2 battle cruisers, though, that becomes a little bit more problematic. That being said, 1-1 for the Zerg player is just about done, and I really like... Oh, no, the queens are going to go down without... Oh, no, never mind. The transfusers will be there. Shame on me for thinking it would be otherwise, but now we're going to start to see some queens get killed off here. Now, the battle cruiser at the front does need to be careful. It is getting shot at by these spores, but I don't think it cares. As of course, there it go. It has a teleport. Corruptors will show up though, and this second battle cruiser should go down. No, it has a teleport back. Okay.
Yeah, teleport is... Oh, sorry, go on.
Oh, go ahead. I was gonna say, I really do like this from Tuna though, because it looks like he is planning on overbuilding Corruptors, getting up to like 13, 14 Corruptors, and just doing a Roach Ravager max. Behind that, it's a good way to play. You go, you knock all the battle cruisers from the skies, and then you kill off a base. It's kind of how things tend to work. But look, he has lost 26 workers. He's lost 3 queens. He has lost a ton of stuff on this game. So that timing that he's going to look for, it's not there. And as you so adroitly point out, Steadfast, there are tons and tons and tons of missile turrets, which means that just the Roach Ravager Wrecking Ball, Roach Ravager Corruptor Wrecking Ball that Tuna is looking for in this game, well, the Corruptors are just going to get shot from the skies.
Yeah, and they're not going to have an easy time. So what you're looking for in this scenario is, yeah, Corruptors. It's very simple. It's very simple. Oh man, these drones. Oh no, they missed. They missed their target. The Corruptors take down the BCs, and then the Roach Ravager deals with the army before it's hit that critical supply. Now, yeah, it's just not gonna happen here. I don't think that timing exists anymore. And, well, we do see a hive on the way for Tuna. He started up that +2 missile. Very interestingly as well, I don't think I'm a fan of this, is Keel has added on Thors here. I think I would rather have seen more tanks before adding on those Thors. I feel like Thors are something you want to go for to help deal with Broodlords. They're not something you go for as, like, early parts of your mech army, you know?
Hey, Steadfast. A wise man once said that sufficiently advanced Thors are indistinguishable from magic. So, well, that's what we have to work out here. But honestly, Thors, when they are heavily upgraded enough, fully upgraded Thors do more DPS than Dark Templar do. As one battle cruiser will go down, Keel just not quite on top of things. That being said, though, he has a wonderful defensive setup. He has 4 bases. His tanks are everywhere. And there are now Thors that can deal with these Corruptors in the sky. And look at this. We have another battle cruiser on the way from Keel. As he opts, he says, look, I want 3 battle cruisers in this game. I think they provide a lot of utility, a lot of harassment. I don't want to play a game when I cannot have 3 battle cruisers. So the 3rd will get added on in, and 2-2 is on the way. Of course, the timing here that Keel is looking for, it's going to be 2-2, 3-3. He is nearing max, and this is one of those scary things. When you play this Corruptor Roach Ravager style, much like whether you're playing Swarm Hosts, your goal is to keep your opponent below 150 supply. That is kind of that line of inflection that you see, kind of true for Skytoss too, but these more turtly, mechy styles, when they're below that, they're manageable. When it gets above that point, when you have a low cost army, suddenly the costs go out of control here as we get, well, actually it's, no, Tuna has the more expensive army, surprisingly enough. But now he's coming on in here because, yeah, this is just a lot of Hellbats, and Hellbats don't fight all that well, but the chokes are there. They fill chokes incredibly well, and Tuna will be forced back.
That was a very, very painful fight right there for Tuna. Only killed off 7 Hellbats and lost quite a decent number of Roach Ravagers and Banelings. And, okay, we will see him go in once again, but this time it's only from one angle. And, well, even though the tanks are... There's not that many in the front, there is a deep tank line. Oh, big Corrosive Bowels right there coming down. But this is looking very, very costly here for Tuna. Finally, the Corruptors show up, and we'll be able to at least get one of these battle cruisers.
But Steadfast, does it matter? Look at the supply of our Terran player. Look at the supply of our Zerg players. The Corruptors are now just dying to these Thors. And that, on top of that, Tuna has not been trading this entire game. So it's not like he took a disadvantaged trade and then was able to remax behind it. He only has 500 minerals in the bank. He is running so short on gas. So now we're going to have Roaches. They're going to pile on in here. But 2-2 is just about done. They're not done yet. So this is maybe the timing that our Zerg player is looking for. As that Ultra, well, it's only a 0-2 Ultra. So it's just going to go down here. Corruptors are going to try to take the fight. But so the battle cruisers will eventually go down. But tanks and Thors are the units that are carrying the day. 2-2 just about done for our Terran player. So he will have upgrade parity. And you got to remember, much like anything else when we're looking at mech versus Zerg, everything is just that much more impactful for the mech player. The units are just that much more powerful, which means upgrades, they hit them just that much better. And so 2-2 versus 2-2, probably the mech player advantage there. 20 army supply lead, mech player absolutely at an advantage there. And there are no spellcasters on the map, Steadfast. There are no Vipers. There are no Infestors. There's nothing that you really need in the late game to actually deal with a maxed out or nearly maxed out Terran army.
No, there is not, and this is where those Thors, as you mentioned, really, really start to increase their power level as their upgrades come online. They benefit both Thors and tanks, as you mentioned, benefit so much from having +2 attack, +3 attack. They just become absolute gods. Like the name Thor is very, very it's very appropriate, I feel, for how powerful they become in the late game. Oh, wow, did we just see another... Oh, no, Battlecruiser went over somewhere to deal with some Corruptors, maybe?
I guess, but it just teleported back onto the main army at half health. Rather surprising. Now, it does look like we are maybe short on scans a little, as we do have P and Keel setting up here on creep, which is maybe not the best thing you want to do, but now we have another scan coming in. And now Hellbats, they will find this 4th base of our blue Zerg player, but now we have the flank coming in from both sides. If there is an opportunity for Tuna here to take the fight that he is looking for, this is the flank, and actually he's doing a pretty good job for himself, but you gotta remember, Ultras suck against Thors. And there we go, the Ultras, they're gonna show up, they're just gonna die, and once again, Tuna, he's running out of everything. GG. We got a series tied, Steadfast.
That we do, and well, this is not the Wings of Liberty, like patch 1 or 2 or 3 or something, where there was that big Ultralisk bug that caused them to splash like 17 units behind them. It was actually very funny. So depending on the size of the unit that they were attacking, that's how big their splash radius was. It made for some very memey games. But yeah, it's not that now. Thors, like you said, absolutely obliterate Ultralisks. And, well, as a result, we're looking at game number 3, and we're back to a best of 3 basically here.
You don't say. But now, of course, we have our... Steadfast, I got some news for you. We're not playing on Submarine this time.
Wait, why not?
Well, because it's either Pillars of Gold or Submarine. Because we all live in a gold submarine, apparently. And that's the joke on this week, and I kind of hate it. But anyway... there we go.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting one. But you know, it's you have a little fun with it. Why not? Now we are going to be getting into a PvP here, which is well, you know, that's kind of neat. What do you think the odds are we'll see a cannon rush?
Well, I know I've cast Mystery Wisp. I don't know if I've cast Alkin before, but I don't remember a bunch about them. So knowing nothing about these two North American Protoss players, I'd say the odds are probably about 75%. From what I know, based off of the North American ladder. And this is also Pillars of Gold. It is a rather cannon rushable map. There's a good spot that you can kind of wedge your probes on in with a wall kind of next to the natural. So we're going to have to see exactly how that one works out for us. As now, Steadfast, we have our third game loaded up. It's going to be a good one.
I sure hope so. Spawning up in the top right, representing the Google Alphastars. Guga. It's the purple Protoss player, Alkin.
And his opponent in the bottom left in the teal for the Amazon Painforest. He is the Protoss player, a Mystery Wisp.
Yes, he is. And he is not building a pylon yet.
Is he AFK? I mean, he built.
Oh no!
probes to
What am I
15.
talking about? Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
no,
I was
never
like,
mind.
no, he's doing stuff, right? Like his money should be higher if it. Yeah, he's going for a proxy and something that is very popular right now. Double Gate Forge. Is that what we're gonna see?
That is the parting. But no, it's. We're getting.
Yep.
Are we getting a flower?
Yep. The power flower, as it's
Well,
as
power
it's
flower is
been-
4 gates.
And technically, it would be like better
There
placed
we
so
go.
that the pylon is literally perfectly surrounded. But yeah, this is going to be a 4-gate proxy. And, well, Alkin's going to see this. He's going to be like, okay, huh. Now, I think the correct response would be to wall the front, but Mystery Wisp is like, nuh-uh, I'm going to put a pylon there so you can't.
And the second question, whether Mystery Wisp has, or excuse me, whether Alkin has actually figured out what's happening. Because yes, he saw the lack of, oh, we're gonna see the, I love this. Look at this. So he's just continuously walling on walling and walling on walling, but oh, I love it. Alkin saying, well, okay, if you're gonna wall me in, I'm gonna wall your wall. So it's gonna be a wall on walls, walls on walls on walls, and it will be defensive cannons here for Alkin, because I guess Alkin
Let it finish. Oh, no. Now he's going to have to tear down his own pylon to get at his opponent's wall, and that will supply block him because he's not building another pylon.
Well, he can also just tear down a gateway.
Yes, that is... Yeah, that's probably what he needs to do now, because the total HP of breaking through that wall is 400. Probe does go down, but we already have double Stalker on the way, one of them being chronoed out, a cannon behind this. And, well, we're going to see how much damage 4 Zealots at a time really can do.
Steadfast, I think the answer is not enough here. Yes, the shields are slowly going down on these gateways, but we have Stalkers back. We have more and more gateways are getting built, and we will see more and more cannons as well. So maybe these Zealots will eventually punch through the targeted gateway. They will eventually punch through both. But the question, Steadfast, is at what cost? At what cost? Is it worth it? Is it absolutely worth it? I don't think it is, as now with the cannon up here, we're just seeing more and more Stalkers come on out. Now, unfortunately, it does look like the Stalker in that one gateway will go down, and now the Stalkers will have to kite a little bit, but they're not really kiting yet. And Alkin, you got a micro here. You can't just 1A and hope it's going to be fine. Zealots do kill Stalkers if they are 1A'd. And there we go. So the Zealots will show up once again. More and more cannons are on the way, but this cannon, it's targeting down the Zealots in the front, which means the Zealots that are actually on top of it are not getting targeted down yet. But with the Stalker here, maybe it's going to be just enough. It is.
9 HP keeps it alive, but there are no more units being on the field right now for Alkin. And that's going to be a kill, not a cancel, on this cannon. And that is another one going down. The wall just barely gets rebuilt, but Adepts. Honestly, if he'd made Adepts from the start, this probably is a lot easier of a hold. But there is just one out, and it is actually surrounded. Now, Warp Gate will finish, and we have a sentry behind this. This is the longest I've seen a 4-gate like this go. Oh, no, the force field didn't actually cover that pylon.
Steadfast, I think the wall just got 10 feet higher. As now the wall up is continuing, it is continuing, and I really like this positioning from this Adept. There's no way the Zealots will ever really come to bear against it. And, I mean, I guess you can do 1 for 1, but, I mean, the Zealot will survive 4 forever, and that's the case as more and more sentries are coming out. But the force field is not totally perfect, so the sentry is kind of taking some damage. And ever so slowly, it does look like Mystery Wisp is kind of punching through here in a game that I didn't expect that to ever be the case.
Neither did I. A Photon Cannon will finish up once again behind us. There are no more force fields available, but with that Adept warping in, and now the 3 sentries plus a cannon is a surprising amount of DPS. I think Alkin may have finally held this, but oh my god, has it been sloppy and rough. And if he, well, there it is. Yeah, GG gets called. Wow. What a surprising way that game went.
Yeah, that was a game. And I mean, I was seeing that. And of course, at the very end of the game, Alkin did decide to go and
yeah, he ultimately did get those Adepts down, and oh, man, that was really weird.
Okay, sorry, I was responding to things as I've been hosting the maps. But Steadfast,
Yes.
I got good news for you. I have good news. We're going back to submarine again.
Oh, how I've missed thee. It's been almost 4 minutes. No, that game was just over 5 minutes. So, memes aside, it was not long. This has been an incredibly quick best of 5 so far.
I think both players realized that you know what? IEM was incredible games. Maybe they didn't see every single game that was played. So what they did, they said, okay, we're going to go back and we're going to make sure that this series is over really fast so we can go catch the VODs that we missed. I think that's exactly what happened there, Steadfast.
Yeah, that makes the most sense to me. And, well, we are going to be having the captain of Google here trying to close things out for his team. In this TVT, it is going to be Gyalgatine. Gyalgatine, I actually had the opportunity to cast one of his games recently in the ESL Open Cup, and it was a lot of fun with some cool games, and I'm really excited to see what he can do here for his team. Quite a good player, and I think possibly might be the ace on Google Alphastars. I'm not 100% sure, but at the very least, he would make a strong case for being the ace.
Oh shoot, I managed to delete a row in something, but I think technically bench press would be the ace, as he's according to my spreadsheet, he is Masters 1, but well, we saw how that game went, so not exactly sure whether they want to do that. But now, Steadfast, we're loaded into game 4 here. It's back on submarine. Take it away.
Absolutely spawning down in the bottom right, up against the ropes. His team needs him to deliver. It is the red Terran player from Amazon Painforest. It's Lead On, Gordy. I assume that's a reference to goats, to a goat.
Cyril? Anyway, in the upper left, in the blue, he is the blue Terran player from the Google Alphastars. He is Gyalgatine.
Looking, looking like he wants to just play this out safely. Both players, in fact, going for that gas first. And Gyalgatine even going to go for the second gas, so playing it out extremely safe to get that super fast factory. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, you know what? There's this nice little carousel, this merry-go-round of TVT openers that we see where Reaper expands are better than gas firsts, are better than Proxy Reaper, are better than Reaper expands. But in this case, Steadfast is the same build. Actually, I guess not really true, as you mentioned that. You mentioned it, I just did not pay enough attention. Bleaton Gordy is in fact not going for that double second gas, so it looks like it will be a Reaper expand against the gas first, and that actually gives a minor advantage to our Gordy player here from Amazon. We're gonna have to see whether he's able to make use of that, because of course the logic there is when you go gas first, more often than not you move across the map with this 2 or 3 Reaper, 2 or 3 Hellion pressure. And because of the way production times work, and because of the fact that you can form a defensive concave, you can get away as the Reaper Expand player with having less stuff to hold the gas burst or the double gas burst pressure of your opponent. And when you do so, you have your natural faster, you get more workers, you get faster upgrades maybe. You're just in a wonderful position because you did not commit so early onto that pressure. That being said, it's incredibly execution focused, and just because there's this notional build order advantage that we're talking about does not mean that that's actually going to happen. That does not mean we're going to a game 5 just because of how the games opened up in this series.
Yeah, and it's honestly a pretty minor, not negligible, but pretty minor advantage anyways. And like you said, it with the option of, you know, pushing out with either 2 Reapers and a Hellion or 3 Reapers, 2 Hellions, or it potentially, okay, yeah, there we go, 3 Reapers, 2 Hellions. You can oftentimes get a lot of equalizing damage, and Bleed on Gordy actually has not built any units besides that first Reaper, so he's actually going to get caught right here. Oh man, this is actually going to be a lot of problems for him. He's trying to go double Hellion, but they're not out yet.
Yeah, this was an incredibly greedy opener on top of a greedy opener for our red Terran player. Now, he will just jump up on up. He says, okay, hey, Reaper, you got 1 Reaper. I got 2, and I have a Hellion from the low ground that can still fight. So we're going to see so much damage here from these first 3 units. Now, of course, the Hellions are finally out. When Hellions fight Reapers like nobody's business. So only 2 workers will go down. That being said, though, despite taking his natural that much slower, Galgatine, he does have a 4 worker lead, which of course is more than the workers he killed. So he had a minor macro lead despite everything, just I guess hitting his production cycles that much faster. We're going to have to see how Gordy decides to equalize things. But of course, Galgatine, he still has this opportunity to get some damage done. He does have 2 Hellions and 2 Reapers. Did he lose a Hellion? No.
No, he
just lost a Reaper, so
yeah,
he was going for the 3 Reaper 2 Hellion, because there's also kind of a version of this where you go for 3 Hellion 2 Reaper. But no, he just went for option A. He went for what was behind door A and not door B.
Yeah. Ooh, these Hellions are moving out, and they are gonna find actually both the Reapers of Galgatine. That's kind of nice. And all of a sudden now it's okay. Never mind. Cyclone shows up. Oh, and that is going to be very, very good for Galgatine. We'll lose a Mule and I think 1 SCV, but now ultimately that's going to be totally, well, yeah, I would say that's still okay. I would still, yeah.
Now Galgatine is doing fantastically in this game. 4 Hellions for later worker damage, because you got to remember, the earlier you do damage in a game, the more impactful it is. So yes, losing the Mule, you really don't want to lose Mules. They're worth more than SCVs. But considering he only lost 1 SCV and 2 Reapers, and yeah, he lost a Mule, but that was about it. And he killed off 4 Hellions after the damage he got done early. He's actually, you know, in a pretty happy position in this game. Now, is it going to be game deciding? Probably not. That Hellion almost gets an SCV, but of course it takes 3 shots from a Hellion to kill off an SCV, so we'll be able to stay alive. He's only got those 2. And now Raven's coming up from both players. It looks like Galgatine, he's going to 2. No, they're both going to 2 Ravens. Never mind.
Oh, Galgatine, though, is going to mech, which is very, very interesting. We're going to see Vikings getting pumped out here. Going to see 2 more factories getting thrown down. And, well, could we see something similar out of Bleed on Gordy? Still hasn't started up Stim yet. This is kind of feeling like a push from the red Terran player, but I am not sure. That's a lot of Marines to be building on just a regular reactor.
Yeah, but Steadfast, we do have E-base on the way. We do have a 3rd base on the way here for Bleed on Gordy, Gordy.
Yeah.
And it was 3 gas for the longest of times. Now there's a 4th gas on the way in the 3rd base, and the natural, as he looks to get ready to take his 3rd base. So this is absolutely going to be bio. There we go. Stim is getting started. Now it's a slightly later Stim, but still within the bounds of normalcy here. 1-1 is on the way, so Stim will finish up with 1-1 with combat shields eventually, as a couple extra barracks are added. And this is just Bleed on Gordy. Wow. This is just Gordy going into your standard 3 base setup. Is it a little bit later than you might see otherwise? Yes. Is it the end of the world? Not really. That being said, though, Galgatine looks like he's going for a 2 base mech all in. To be totally honest, there's no 3rd base on the way at 7 minutes into this game. No armory as well, so never mind. Okay, Cast a Curse,
He literally
Steadfast.
did that as soon as you said it. Perfectly timed.
And there's the armor. Oh no, there's the eBay as well, so we can get the. And eventually we will see that armory. But I'm looking at this, I'm like, oh yes, Blue Flame is on the way. There are a lot of tanks, a lot of Hellions coming on out. This sounds like a really good timing that he's going to be able to hit, and he actually will make a move out on this. So, yes, is he going to get a third base? He is. However, I stand by my guns. This is going to be a push. This is one of those things where it's kind of analogous to looking at Protoss-based timings, where if they do it before 4 minutes, it's early. If they do it at 4:30, it's fine. If they do it after 5 minutes, they have to get something done. And that's kind of the case here, where Gyalgatin is starting his third base on the high ground as his opponent has his third base finished and in position. Now, we do have the Ravens here, and there are two Raven, now one Raven here for our blue Protoss, or blue Terran player, excuse me. But, well, all the Raven energy has now been used, and tanks have been disabled. But that's just slowing the push down, Steadfast. That is not making the push end. And of course, well, there is a sky lead, a massive sky lead here for Gyalgatin. I would love to see him just dive on top of these Vikings and just dive on top of the starport and just make that not happen. There we go. The slow push of the tanks is coming on in here. There is no sky dominance. There is no sky presence here for Bleed on Gordy at all. So he will be forced to spend scans to make sure that he does not die to this push, to make sure he is on top of things. And okay, I respect it.
Yeah. Very interesting addition to the high-sec auto tracking there. We are going to be seeing a nice little Raven move in here. Oh, that's a little bit expensive right there for Gyalgatin, but he is still in such a good spot. He does need to actually start getting some economic damage done. And I mean, I think the move right now is wait till the scan expires and then shift everything towards that third base. Ooh, but we're actually going to see him move forward with these tanks. Oh, and he's going to find a tank of his opponent. And there we go, with the Liberator showing up. This is, oh my god, a fourth command center? Are you serious right now?
You know what Bleed on Gordy is saying, win behind, get further behind. That's the game play, right? But the third base will now get camped. 8 workers will go down. And this is the result of losing air dominance. That means Liberators can show up and can start just killing off all your tanks, which means that makes the push that much easier here because, well, the Vikings, they own the sky. There are no Vikings that will get anything done possible. Now, you got to be careful, and you don't want to lose them to a bunch of Marines. That is something that you'd have to worry about. Please stop losing Vikings to the Marines. As now it's only 6 Vikings, but there are 0 Vikings on the map for our red Terran player. And yes, there are some Marines, but the tanks are sieging up from every which location. The screws are tightening Steadfast. And a couple Marines are not what you need to deal with this, as more and more Hellions are going to run into here. Blue Flame at the ready. And we're just going to have to see the Liberators going to have to finish their siege up, but more and more tanks are going down. It is now 132 army supply, or 132 supply to 81 here, as the Vikings, they're going to try to take the fight once again, but it will be unsuccessful. Tanks are just slowly dying, and Steadfast, I think we're watching the slow death of a bio player.
Yeah, it's not even that slow either. We are going to see a Liberator siege up once again. All the Marines, one of them finally gets into range outside of that Liberation zone, but it's still so disastrous. Last tank on the low ground will go down. There is another one popping out and another one on the high ground, but I think we are seeing, well, the end of the end at this point. Tanks moving on into the natural. They will siege up, which will allow the SCVs to get us around, but that is temporary, and those SCVs are dead forever. And I think we are going to see GG in just a moment here. Gyalgatin is going to be able to take this one home for his team here. GG gets called. Well played by the Google team.
The Google Gyalgatin?
Do you Google Gyalgatin? Google.
The Gyalga team?
The Gyalga team, exactly.
But you know what? It's kind of funny when, well, actually, I guess I should not be surprised. Of course, Amazon Painforest, they're sitting at 1-0 in that. Well, now they're sitting at 1-1, but they had a great run last year, but it looks like they were missing out on some of their best players. I mean, they had Shockwave, they had Tuna, but I feel like there were a couple more players that I'm forgetting the names of that really were their anchor points over the last year. And they ran into a team, they ran into Google's A team, where every single player was effectively Masters 2 or higher. And yes, we have seen in the preparation formats like this, you can get away with that. You can, in fact, craft the right builds, do the proper scouting, and beat players 700 MMR higher than you are. We saw that happen last time.
Yeah, Yeah, absolutely. And well, that is going to wrap things up for our first series here of the day. We're gonna put up a quick little break screen, and we will be back with an interview of the winning team, Galgatine.
With his Yalga team.
Make sure to stick around. All right, I am joined here by Gyalgatine, the champion, captain of Google Alphastars, securing that last crucial point and securing the victory over Amazon Painforest. First things first, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about you.
I'm Galgatine. I work at Google. I've been here for a little more than 2 years now. I've been captaining for the A team ever since I've gotten here. I don't think I'm the best player on the team by far, but for the most part, I think I have this job because I'm pretty good at organizing things and researching opponents and everything.
Nice, awesome. Yeah, and also big thanks to you for filling out the Google Sheets. It always makes our job a little bit easier.
No problem.
I did remember, in fact, that I was able to cast you in the ESL Open Cup a couple weeks ago. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
You had some neat games, and there was definitely some cool timings that you did. Gave yourself a lot of opportunities. Now, I know that you've been in charge of the Google team for a couple of years now. You mentioned that it's just kind of fell to you as a natural for it. How's it been? How's it been? And what is the main goal of the team?
The main goal every season, of course, is to take home the championship finally. As far as I know, I don't think Google has ever gotten first place. We've gotten to the finals a few times. Last season, I think was probably our best shot, but we just lost the last ace match against Shopify in the semifinals. And with Alexa eliminated in the round of 8, like, I think anyone from our side of the bracket was the favorite to win. But unfortunately, we didn't get that final win. And congratulations to Shopify for getting their first win as well.
Yeah, they are a tough team. They had of course the legendary Zero, so it goes a long way to have a super ace like that.
Yeah.
Is there? I guess yeah, that's a good follow up question. If you guys had to play them again, do you have anything ready or anything prepared for playing? And I'm not talking about just the regular season because best of 5, a super ace has a lot more impact. But in a best of 7, you can kind of maybe play around them a little bit more. There was some teams who actually they tried to go with some special builds. Unfortunately, it didn't work. What would your game plan be without giving too much away to deal with a player like Zero?
Well, just to point out, we did manage to take a game off Zero. One of our player Alkin, who was our game 3 player, he's 4-6, 4-7 ish Protoss.
Mhm.
He was able to win a game off 0. In it's kind of a cheesy build, but not necessarily like a 1-base cheese, if that makes any sense. So we
Yeah,
were
yeah.
able to take a game off him. I think with good preparation and a bit of luck, we could definitely win a series against them. And plus, our ace player, Orange Caramel, he wasn't fielded this week. You can never count him out. He's also taken games off 0 before. And we like to call it the Orange Caramel effect, where players always tend to do stupid things against him. Something about his playstyle just makes their decision-making process, like, just go messed up, so...
I can actually speak to that because I've played him on the ladder a fair number of times. I think there was like maybe a couple day period or a couple week period where I must have played him like 8 or 9 times, and I can attest to that. That was a very real thing. By the end of it, I was just doing the stupidest things. Yeah, he was doing like all these like aggressive tech switches and things that just really discombobulated opponents, and in my case, me. But I could see that definitely being a strong move, and that's cool that you have a name for it there.
Yeah.
So is it fair to assume then that he would be the ace of the team, or is that?
Yes, but I think we have this season a lot of up-and-comers who are rapidly gaining in MMR. So I can't guarantee that we'll be playing Orange Caramel as the ace for every matchup. If we have a feeling good run other player, we will definitely play them.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, and play the hot hand is yeah, like as coaches would say. Now to I guess expand on that a little bit more. You guys have a pretty strong squad across the board. And you mentioned some new up and comers.
Yeah.
Tell me about your first player today.
Okay.
What happened there?
So we're all a little bit confused about that game. Bench Press is a new Googler. He joined last year, I think maybe around October-ish.
Mhm.
He's reached Masters 1, actually, as a random player.
That's
and
really
he just
good. That's
has
very difficult.
he has a lot of really sneaky builds. And I guess this game, he wasn't expecting a drone scout, and everything just kind of went downhill from there.
That is true. Yeah, no, there was 2 very crucial moments where scouts kind of saved the game for his opponent.
Yeah.
Like you said, that drone scout that allowed his opponent to build not 1 but 2 spines at the front, which you're not breaking through that with pure laying against an opponent who's well turtled up.
Mhm.
And then the Nidus Worm, when that got scouted, his opponent moved a Ling up to the top right, and that was exactly where the Nidus Worm went down. If he hadn't gotten even that second scout, it might have still worked.
Yeah.
But that's cool. So can we expect more of this kind of craziness out of your player there, or is it going to be more of the like just can he macro, I guess, as well with that?
You can macro. If anything, you should just him being on our team means that we will probably all have some more diversity in builds, so it'll just make the whole team a little stronger.
Well, that's very cool, and that's something to look forward to.
Yeah.
Now you mentioned that that this year, as same as always, you're looking to win the whole thing. What are your game plans, I guess, going into each match? How do you prepare going into it?
So firstly, we usually, just look up the players that are submitted, right, and try to guess their rough skill level. Well, before that, we look at what's on the roster and just see if like we need to plan submission, right? Like if it's a team that's mostly lower level players, we don't feel too much pressure, and we could just we can give our like lower level players also a chance to play. If it's one of the Facebooks, Amazons, Shopify's, I guess they're the newcomers, we definitely expect them to be bringing their best, so we will usually try to play our best as well, and if we have any ideas, like we can try to look up and see what they like to do and counter that. That's as far as I would like to say.
No. Of course, yeah. I don't want you to give away your whole game plan. More just like a rough outline. And that makes sense. It's play to the match, play to the opponent. Now, thank you. Obviously, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. Before I let you go, is there anyone on the team that you want to give a special shout out to? Yeah, anything at all, or some social media you'd like to shout out.
No social media, but I guess everyone this week who showed up and won. I guess shout out to our game 1 as well. That was a fun game. But our game 2 winning that, like, I'm glad we didn't have to go through an ace because that would have been really close. We unfortunately lost the first week. I don't think that should have happened. But going 0-2 in series to start off the season would not be a good idea. So, yeah, I'm glad we won this week.
Yeah, no, and it's a nice bounce back game against one of the better teams in the league. So definitely a good confidence, I guess, booster. And well, congratulations on that. Congratulations on your win, and hope to see more of you in the future. Have a wonderful afternoon.
You too. All right. Thanks for casting.
Thank you for joining us.